Every morning, before the distant light of the Perseus arm even reaches this sector, a man climbs into a 50-ton bipedal mech built from recycled dreadnought armor and jury-rigged hydraulics. He breathes in the familiar scent of ozone, stale sweat, and engine grease, the perfume of the damned. He doesn't clock in at an air-conditioned corporate office. He doesn't descend into a subterranean mine on some barren, dusty moon. His commute is a one-way drop into a nightmare. His job is to descend into the rotting, frozen guts of a creature the size of a small moon. One mistake, a ruptured suit, a misjudged plasma cut, or a sudden, violent shift in the decaying biotectonics, and he will be digested by the very thing he's trying to harvest. There are no search and rescue teams down there, only the dark. Nobody wants this job. But in the Outer Rim, desperation is the only currency that matters. This is the life of a marrow scrapper, the men and women living, working, and dying inside a giant alien corpse. Welcome to Golgotha Prime. It isn't a planet. It isn't a space station. It is a makeshift mining colony bolted directly onto the exposed spinal column of a colossal, unidentified cosmic entity. It is a parasite city feeding on a dead god. 70 years ago, a deep space survey fleet found the Leviathan drifting in the dead zone of the Omega Sector, a region of space where stars go to die. It was dead. Or, at least, dead enough. It measured over 4,000 miles from its shattered jaw to its severed tail. Nobody knows what killed it. The massive, jagged impact crater on its flank suggests a weapon of impossible magnitude, or perhaps a catastrophic collision with a rogue planet. But the cause of death didn't matter to the megacorporations. What mattered was the treasure locked inside its bones. To the corporations, the creature wasn't a biological tragedy. It was a gold mine that could dictate the economy of the entire sector. Its marrow, a hyperdense, bioluminescent fluid the scrappers call God blood, is the most potent energy source ever discovered. A single barrel of refined God blood can power a planetary metropolis for a decade. A single vial on the black market could buy a man his own starship. It burns cleaner than quantum plasma and is terrifyingly more stable than dark matter. But extracting it is an industrial nightmare. You can't just send automated mining drones into the carcass. The creature's latent electromagnetic field fries standard AI within minutes, scrambling logic boards and melting circuits. The environment is highly acidic, constantly shifting as the tissues slowly break down, and utterly unpredictable. It requires human intuition. It requires the desperate reflexes of pilots crazy enough to drop into the dark. Pilots like Kalen. A typical shift begins at 0400 hours, long before the colony's artificial lights mimic a sunrise. Kalen syncs his neural cortex with his Gravedigger-class harvest rig, a heavily modified, massively armored mech designed specifically for close-quarters excavation and extreme environmental resistance. It is more tank than tractor. The descent into the belly takes 2 grueling hours. The elevator groans under the immense strain, cables snapping tight as it lowers Kalen and his crew past layers of calcified dermal plating, through miles of fossilized, black muscle tissue, and into the subdermal caverns. Here, there is no sunlight. The only illumination comes from the eerie, bioluminescent flora that has sprouted like weeds in the creature's decaying veins. The work is brutal, exhausting, and maddeningly monotonous. They use sonar to locate a major arterial node, drill through the hardened, crystalline biomatter, and insert heavy, barbed extraction pumps directly into the veins. You cut, you pump, you haul. You try to ignore the sweet, sickly smell of ancient rot that somehow always manages to filter through the triple-layered atmospheric scrubbers. You try to ignore the unsettling way the organic, spongy walls seem to absorb the sound of your roaring engines, leaving you in a suffocating silence. And above all, you try to ignore the constant, paranoia-inducing feeling that despite being dead for millennia, the carcass is watching you. But the dead don't always rest easy. The greatest lie the corporate recruiters tell the greenhorns is that the carcass is completely inert, a static mine. It's not. It is a decaying ecosystem reacting to parasites. They call them phantom pulses, residual nerve spasms that ripple through the creature's colossal, dead nervous system. A single muscle twitch from a creature this size can crush a 50-ton mech like a discarded tin can. Hidden acid pockets burst under the pressure without warning, flooding entire harvest sectors with highly concentrated digestive enzymes capable of dissolving military-grade titanium in seconds. And then, there is the local wildlife. Nature abhors a vacuum, and a corpse this large is a generational feast. The necro-ticks are parasitic scavengers that have evolved entirely within the dark ecosystem of the carcass. They are blind, heavily armored against the acid, and hyper-aggressive. They don't just eat dead, rotting tissue. They are instinctively drawn to the intense thermal signatures of the harvest rigs, mistaking the hot engines for warm blood. Surviving a shift on Golgotha Prime isn't just about meeting a brutal corporate quota. It's about fighting off the crushing weight of the abyss every single second of the day. You don't ever conquer the carcass. You just survive its digestion long enough to clock out. On his 400th dive, a milestone few scrappers ever lived to see, Kalen's crew is ordered deeper than any survey team has gone before. Sector 0. They are tasked with penetrating the creature's thoracic cavity, near what the company biologists assume was the primary organ cluster, the heart. The godblood radiation readings on Kalen's HUD are off the charts, blinding his sensors with solid white light. It's a payload so massive it could buy Kalen a first-class ticket back to the core worlds, light years away from the grit, the acid, and the grime of Golgotha Prime. But as his thermal drill finally breaks through the thick, final layer of calcified pericardium, he doesn't find a reservoir of energy waiting to be pumped. He finds architecture. This wasn't a biological heart pumping blood. It was an engine. And the geometric structures surrounding it in the cavernous expanse weren't tumors or cysts. They were ruined buildings, temples with sweeping arches, dwellings, plazas, a sprawling, dead city swallowed and protected by the flesh. Against every instinct he has, Kalen hits the manual release and disengages from his mech. It violates every safety protocol the company ever wrote, but the golden, pulsing light draws him in like a moth to a flame. He walks to the edge of the central, floating sphere. Suspended in the amber-like fluid inside, drifting peacefully, are thousands of perfectly preserved, delicate humanoid figures. They are asleep. And then, the voice of the dead Leviathan speaks directly into his mind. Not with human words, but with a tidal wave of raw, unfiltered memories. A data dump of 1 billion lifetimes. The sheer weight of the truth hits Kalen harder than a physical blow, driving him to the floor. The Leviathan wasn't just a spacefaring animal that wandered into the wrong sector. It was a highly sentient, bioengineered generation ship. A living, breathing fortress designed with singular purpose, to carry the last sleeping remnants of a dying race across the universe to a safe harbor. The god blood they had been ruthlessly pumping out, the precious, hyperdense fuel that powered humanity's endless neon cities and corporate wars. It wasn't bone marrow. It was the ship's vital life support fluid. It was the synthesized souls, the compressed dreams, and the cryofluids of the sleeping civilization. Humanity wasn't mining a corpse. They were slowly, systematically draining the life support of 1 million sleeping refugees. They were bleeding an arc dry to keep their own lights on. The corporation back on the surface of Golgotha Prime demands an immediate status report. Kalen's comms crackle to life, shattering the sacred silence. His foreman's voice barks through the static, greedy and impatient, asking if he's found the motherlode that the sensors promised. If he reports this, he knows exactly what will happen. The company will strip the Ark down to the absolute last bolt. They will harvest the sleepers for biomatter without a single second thought. Kalen could be filthy rich. He could buy his way back to Earth, see a real blue sky, and drink water that doesn't taste like recycled copper. Instead, Kalen locks his targeting computer onto the massive structural bone supports of the cavern's entrance, spooling up his plasma cannon to maximum yield. Command, this is Kalen. Sector 0 is a dead end. Massive bioquake caused a cave-in just as we breached. Sensors were glitching on a pocket of explosive digestive gas. There's nothing down here but ghosts and rock. I'm coming home. Some jobs in the universe are about extracting value from the dark, taking whatever you can hold in your hands. But looking at the sealed wall, Kalen realizes that the most important job he will ever have is protecting the dark from us. In the infinite cosmic frontier, we look to the stars and see only resources, territory, and endless conquest. But sometimes, if you dig deep enough into the absolute heart of the void, you might just find your own humanity waiting for you.